So, you sent us some really interesting stuff about the Exodus story. And especially like all the instructions for Passover and the Festival of Unleavened Bread in Exodus.
Yep.
And you really want to like understand that story and what it all means.
Absolutely.
Without getting like totally overwhelmed with all the details.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we're going to try to do today.
For sure, this is, it's more than just a story from the past.
Yeah.
It really shaped so much of culture and religion.
Yeah.
And we're going to look closely at all those ancient rules.
Okay.
And what they're all about and why they still matter so much today.
Right.
And we're going to look mainly at the book of Exodus for this.
Okay, cool. So like, where in Exodus do these instructions actually first show up?
Well, it starts right there in Egypt when God talks to Moses and Aaron.
Okay.
And the very first thing he tells them is really interesting.
What's that?
He says, this month, the month when all this is going down is going to be the first month of their year. It wasn't just about changing the calendar. It was like a symbol.
Okay.
Cutting them off from their past as slaves.
Right.
And saying this is a fresh start. It's like their story as a people begins now with this whole freedom thing.
That's a powerful way to think about it.
Yeah.
A new calendar for a new identity.
Exactly.
So then what about the instructions about the lamb?
Yeah, so God says each family, or a few families together, if they're small, they got to pick out a 1-year-old male lamb or goat.
Okay.
It can't have any flaws or anything.
Right.
You got to pick it on the 10th day of this new first month, and then keep it with them until the 14th day.
That waiting part seems important.
It does, right?
Like it's not just something you do quickly and don't think about.
Yeah, it's very intentional.
Yeah.
So then when it gets to be twilight on the 14th day, all the Israelites have to kill those animals.
But it's not just about killing them, right? Like the blood is a really big deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're supposed to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and top their door frames.
They're door frames.
Yeah, of the houses where they're going to eat the meal.
Okay.
This is like a sign. And God promises, when I see the blood, I will pass over you.
Okay.
You won't be touched by the plague that's going to hit Egypt.
Wow.
So that's where the word Passover comes from.
Oh, wow.
God's judgment is going to skip over the houses marked with blood.
So this ritual is all about staying safe.
Yeah.
It's literally life or death.
Totally.
And then there are these specific rules about how to eat the lamb.
Yeah, there are a lot of details about the meal.
Okay.
The lamb has to be roasted over a fire.
Okay.
Not raw or boiled or anything.
Okay.
They got to eat it with bitter herbs and unleavened bread.
Okay.
And they have to eat the whole animal.
The whole thing.
Yeah, like the head, the legs, the insides, everything.
Wow.
If there's any left over by morning, they have to burn it all.
So nothing left.
Right, nothing at all.
No. And it says they're supposed to eat with their cloaks tucked in and sandals on and their staff in hand.
Yeah.
It's like they need to be ready to go.
Right, exactly.
Like, what do you think that means, all that urgency?
I think it shows how soon they're going to be free. It says, eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Right.
So it's not like a relaxed dinner. It's like everybody's on edge waiting to leave.
Right. It comes right before the Exodus.
Exactly.
And this Passover thing isn't just a one-time event, right?
No, it's not.
It's supposed to be remembered forever.
Yeah. God says it's a lasting ordinance.
Right. A tradition to keep going.
Exactly.
And that's where the Festival of Unleavened Bread comes in. It's all connected to Passover.
It is, yeah.
So what's the deal with that?
Well, right after Passover comes the 7-day Festival of Unleavened Bread.
Okay.
And on that very first day, there's this big rule.
What is it?
They have to get rid of all the yeast in their houses.
Wow.
It wasn't just a suggestion about what to eat. If anyone ate anything with yeast during those 7 days, they would be cut off from Israel.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah, it was serious.
So no yeast for a whole week?
Nope.
And within that week, there are some special days too, right?
Yeah, the 1st and 7th days of the festival. Those are sacred assemblies.
Okay.
No one's supposed to work except for making food.
So they're for like coming together and thinking about stuff?
Exactly.
Okay, so why unleavened bread?
Well, it's all tied to what happened during the Exodus.
Oh, really?
It says in Exodus that they should celebrate the Festival of Unleavened Bread.
Okay.
Because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt.
Okay.
It says they took their dough without yeast.
Right.
Because they were rushed out of Egypt. They didn't have time to let it rise.
Oh, I see.
So the unleavened bread reminds them of how fast, and suddenly they had to leave.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then Moses gets all these instructions and he tells the elders of Israel. Did he focus on anything special when he was telling them?
He did.
What was that?
He told them again about choosing and killing the Passover lamb and putting the blood on the doorframes.
Right.
He really stressed that everyone had to stay inside their houses until morning.
Okay.
He said that's how they would be protected when God passed through, and how the destroyer wouldn't be able to come in and hurt them.
Right.
It's like the blood on the door is a shield.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Then later that night, the plague of the firstborn hits Egypt.
Oh, that's what happened.
It was midnight, and God struck down all the firstborn in Egypt.
Wow.
From Pharaoh's own son
Wow.
to the firstborn of prisoners and even all the firstborn animals.
Oh, wow.
It was like this massive judgment.
Must have been terrifying.
It would have been.
So scary and sad.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine how everyone must have felt.
Yeah.
Like, how would that kind of shared trauma change the Israelites as they were leaving?
Yeah, I bet it would have made them feel super connected. Like, they all went through this awful but amazing thing together.
Right, like a memory they would never forget.
Yeah.
Both scary and miraculous at the same time.
Exactly. So what about Pharaoh?
Oh, he freaked out.
Totally.
He called for Moses and Aaron in the middle of the night.
Right.
He's like, you got to get out of here.
Right.
Take all the Israelites, your animals, everything. Just go.
Wow.
He even asked them for a blessing.
Oh, wow.
And the Egyptians were like pushing them to leave too.
They were.
You're afraid more people would die.
So in all that chaos, the Exodus finally starts.
Yeah.
And the unleavened dough is still important, right?
It is?
They take it with them.
They do?
And the Egyptians give them all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like silver and gold and clothes.
Wow.
Almost like a forced goodbye gift.
Right. Like they're saying, just take it and go.
Exactly. It's often called plundering the Egyptians.
Yeah.
So the Bible says about 600,000 men left Egypt.
That's a lot of people.
Plus all the women and children and other people.
Right. And their animals, too.
Oh. Yeah, and all their livestock.
So they went to Sukkoth first.
Yeah.
And they baked unleavened bread from the dough they brought.
Right. Still no time to let it rise.
Yeah.
Because they had to leave so fast.
It says they were in Egypt for 430 years.
It does. Yeah.
It's a long time.
It is a really long time.
And then they left on that exact day.
Yeah, it says at the end of the 430 years to the very day.
Wow. So precise.
Right, like God had it all planned out.
Then it talks about God keeping vigil that night.
Yeah.
What do you think that means, like God keeping vigil?
I think it means he was really paying attention. Like he was watching over them and making sure they got free.
Like he was guarding them.
Exactly.
So then the Israelites are supposed to do the same thing.
Right, because God stayed up to get them out of Egypt.
Yeah.
All Israelites are supposed to stay up on that night every year.
Wow.
To remember and honor God.
So it's like their own yearly reminder of being freed.
Exactly.
Okay, so are there rules about who can eat the Passover meal?
Yeah, there are.
Like, was it for everybody?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Who could eat it?
So foreigners usually couldn't eat it unless they were slaves who had been bought and then got circumcised.
So they had to convert.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay.
That was like a sign that they were part of God's covenant.
Right, like they were joining the Israelite community.
Exactly.
But
people who were just visiting or working there couldn't eat it.
Okay.
And the meal had to be eaten inside one house.
Oh, okay.
And they couldn't take any of the lamb outside.
And
get this, they couldn't break any of his bones.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
It is. And the whole community of Israel was supposed to celebrate it.
The whole community.
Yeah, everyone together.
That's cool.
It is.
So what about teaching all this to their kids?
Oh, that's super important.
Yeah, why is that?
It's how they make sure everyone remembers what happened.
Right.
So Exodus says that when they get to the promised land
Okay.
and they're doing this ceremony,
Yeah.
their kids are going to ask, what does this mean?
Right, of course.
And they're supposed to tell them it's the Passover sacrifice to the Lord,
Okay.
who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt and saved them
Right.
when he killed the firstborn Egyptians.
So it's like they're passing the story down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how they keep their history and identity alive.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It is.
So in the end, the Israelites did everything God said.
They did.
And that's how God brought them out of Egypt.
Yep. It all comes together.
It shows they listened to God.
Right.
And he kept his promise to free them.
Exactly.
So what are like the biggest takeaways from all of this for you?
Well, there's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
First, they were brutally enslaved in Egypt.
Right.
And then God stepped in with those plagues.
Yeah.
And the last one, that firstborn plague,
Yeah.
That's what finally got them free.
Okay.
Then there's all those instructions for the Passover and the Festival of Unleavened Bread.
Right.
Those aren't just random rules.
Yeah.
They're reminders of what happened.
Okay.
You're supposed to make them remember God's protection.
Okay.
And how they had to run out of there so fast.
Right.
And then the biggest thing is this whole idea of liberation.
Being set free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That shaped who they were as a people.
Uh-huh.
And God made sure they would teach their kids about it all so it would never be forgotten.
So why do you think these events and rituals still matter so much today?
I think it's because everyone wants to be free.
Right.
And remembering your past is a big part of who you are.
Yeah.
And it's important to pass down your traditions from one generation to the next.
That makes sense.
The Passover story is like a picture of overcoming hard times and hoping for a better future.
Yeah.
It speaks to everyone. And those rituals they do year after year, those connect them to their past.
Yeah.
It makes them feel like they're all part of something bigger.
That's really powerful.
It is.
Okay, so last thought for you to think about.
Okay.
How does really understanding a tradition, like all the details and the history, how does that make it mean more? Not just for the people who do it, but for us too, even though it was so long ago.
Yeah. That's a good question.
It makes you think about how rituals and stories shape who we are.
They do.
Thanks for being on the deep dive.
My pleasure.
This was awesome.
Glad you liked it.
It really was.